This week's episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Squarespace,
GoDaddy.com, and Netflix.
So did you finally get to see episode 7? Who wasn't that didn't see it? Did you finally see it?
Yeah. Wait, okay. So we're all in agreement that episode 6
was very good. And I have a theory as to why. The person who's not in it at all is Elijah Dushku. She's not in it at all.
She's in it less. Yeah. No, I agree.
She's barely
it became less about her character and more about the world, the universe around it.
Which was super cool.
But then episode 7, did you see episode 7?
I thought it went right back to wah, wah.
It seemed way too early in the series to do the wacky Joss Whedon.
That is what I love about his stuff. That is the classic Joss Whedon thing to do, is the whole cast, the premise of the show gets flipped on its head for an episode. And
Episode
like
7 is
coming.
not too early to do that, you think?
No, it'll change every week.
Thing.
It's going to get. That's what's awesome.
I disagree that it was.
I thought you were
going to
say it didn't happen soon enough.
I disagree that it was too early. I just didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I love Joss Whedon's writing. I love it. I love the way he is what I think people maybe brainwashed into thinking Dakota.
Whoa.
Okay.
Is that a dart?
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess we should be concerned about ninjas now.
Yeah.
Agents of RAD, your mission this week is to seek out and discuss the Fast and Furious, Adventureland, Ninja Blade, Wanted, Weapons of Fate, and to visit the Struzan exhibit. Report back promptly. The fate of the universe is in your hands.
3 rad guys living normal lives are recruited by a team of super spies. Their missions classified, but you may surmise they battle evil by quoting movie lines. Game and TV guides are used like knives to quell the rise of demon samurais. We know it sounds contrived, but we tell no lies. It's as the name implies, the Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 107. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Totally Rad Show is your weekly dose of all things rad. We go down to your local junkyard, find only DeLorean parts, and try to build the best time travel device that is humanly possible.
Epic. Awesome.
And of course, fail miserably because we don't have any tires. And welcome to the show.
I was about to say something about getting a license plate that says out of time.
Yeah. So big ups to Nikki Smith Serenity,
She's
our girl. Awesome
springtimey, very fun.
There's a special, as Alex would say,
Je ne
as well as
sais
the
quoi.
French, je ne sais quoi about her backgrounds. They all have this look that I can't describe.
You know what je ne sais quoi means, right?
Yeah. I don't know what. Yeah.
I was setting you up for the joke.
I don't know what. I don't know. What?
Yeah.
Hey, shoulders. Anyway, we've got a huge action-packed show. I say action for no reason. So let's get into it, shall we?
Yeah. This week in movies, we are talking about Adventureland and Fast and Furious. Almost a the.
Can't have those.
Fast and Furious.
Right.
But we're going to start off with Adventureland.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So Adventureland is being advertised as, from the director of Superbad.
Yeah.
And that certainly is true, but Greg Mottola actually started out in the height of the indie scene with a quirky family dramedy called Day Trippers that is an awesome movie if you've never seen it. Leo Schreiber and Hope Davis, all those people.
Yep.
And it's a great historical movie. And then he went on to direct a lot of Arrested Development episodes.
Best comedy ever made.
And a lot of season 1. And then he did Superbad and he did this movie Adventureland.
Yeah.
Which also stars which stars Jesse Eisenberg, who's also a big indie darling dude. He was in Squid and the Whale. He was in one of my favorites, Roger Dodger.
Yep. That's where I remember him from.
It's a great movie. And it's about Jesse Eisenberg plays a kid who's just graduating high school and is set to go to Columbia University. His father loses some income and he has to get a summer job working at the crappy amusement park.
And this is in 1987.
And this is set in 1987.
In Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh. The Pits.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, my home state.
Boomsy woomsy.
Jeffrey, what did you think of Adventureland?
Well, you know, basically the movie is one of those coming-of-age love stories, and it is a very played-out concept, I think, of the over-intellectual
nerdy
kid who meets the emotionally damaged, sexually promiscuous, but perfect in every way for him, intellectually responsive female, and she's so damaged, and he, learns about himself by meeting her. Right? Very much a played out concept, because I think a lot of times people who tend to write scripts lived through that. I feel like watching this movie, I lived through that in high school. Substitute an amusement park for a movie theater, and it's very similar to an experience that I had growing up. And I think that that's what's so great about this movie, is that I think a lot of people are going to look at it and feel like, man, it really captures that feeling I had. I think despite the fact that it is a very played out concept, it's a really wonderful movie. I think there's great performances. Kristen Stewart is wonderful.
From Twilight.
I think what's his name?
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds
Yeah.
really knocks it out of the park.
Some of the best stuff Ryan
Great.
Reynolds ever done.
I found myself watching this longing to return to that time of my life.
Yeah.
And I will predict right now it's the best movie Dan will see all year. Anyway, or his favorite movie.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and say I was not looking forward to seeing this movie. Because of the fact that it was advertised as from the guy who did Superbad, and most of the stuff in the trailer is just not all that funny. So I was really nervous to see this movie, because I did not think that it could not just live up. I mean, I didn't love Superbad at all. Watching it again, it kind of goes, oh yeah, that's great. That said, it took a while for me to get into it, because I was going in with this mindset of, it was a good 15 minutes into the movie before anybody in the audience, not just me, anybody laughed.
Right. But it's not a straight up comedy like Superbad.
No, but that's what it was pitched to me. So I'm sitting there going, there's nothing funny about this movie. So once I broke through that, and if you go see this movie, which I think you should, because it ends up being a very, very sweet movie that is funny and awkward and amazingly fun to watch. That is not a straight up dry, laugh riot, Fairley Brothers comedy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Superbad at all. It is a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we got to see it. The trailer does not do this movie justice, because the trailer just takes those moments that are theoretically the big laughs, slams them together and goes, look, it's like Superbad. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not even all that funny. What? This looks horrible. I didn't want to see it. But you should see it. I liked it a lot.
It's funny. I remember feeling the exact same way about the trailer for Nick and Nora. As the trailer for Nick and Nora did not make it look good at all, and then it ended up being my favorite movie of the year.
This felt a lot like Nick and Nora.
And I also loved it. You guys were dead on. I mean, I freaking loved it.
I could see a lot of young Danny Trachtenberg in the character.
Story.
Yeah. This is, and like you, there's so many moments that were directly lifted from personal experience. Even though I didn't do the same things, it's like it just felt like the sentiment was exactly how I felt. And
you felt like you were there.
There were a few moments that were like, I lived through that moment. But I do want to say too that I ended up really enjoying Superbad. I just want to take this opportunity to say that I ended up rewatching Superbad. I loved it. So, I mean, I love it now. The wonderful thing about the movie is that the opening moment is the most, we've seen the opening moment happen. A guy trying to talk to a girl that he thinks might be in, or thought was under, We've seen that moment a million times in movies, but the way it is shot, and it's the opening shot of the movie, and the way it is performed makes it the most honest, sincere, truth, saying moment as if you had never seen it before, and we have seen it tons of times.
And there were lots of those scenes, like the moment when they had the first, like when they had their big blow up in the street, and it's like awkward and weird and not well written on purpose. You know what I mean? Like it was like the uncomfortable awkwardness that you have when you're confronting somebody at that age, where you're
that was intense, man.
No, but in a way that was very realistic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And not your classic.
I'm shocked that you guys liked Ryan Reynolds, because I would describe myself as a hardcore Ryan Reynolds fan, and I thought he was miscast in the
Here's
movie.
the
I thought
reason.
he was
No, I know
great.
exactly why the reason is. I don't like Ryan Reynolds. I think he's an overacting ham. So when I see him in a part that's actually subtle and subdued, it's good. Like all of his comedies are so like for me that and
bring
he
up
can
one thing?
ruin things like Blade.
Well, two things. First of all, I think Kristen Stewart is going to be a massive movie star.
Yeah.
She kind of already
for the long
is,
term.
dude.
For the long term. She's
Yeah.
going to be 10, 15 years from now, she's going to still be making big
Yeah.
movies. Secondly, I want to bring up something, and maybe we should go into spoiler cam for this, because I want to talk about the end.
Then we should go into spoiler camp.
Spoiler cam it is.
When the aliens came?
I understand you can't make a mainstream American film that doesn't have
A happy ending.
A happy ending.
Yeah, Hollywood
but,
ending.
Man, would I have loved this movie so much more. I really like the movie, but I would have loved this movie so much more if we had never had any of the New York stuff at the end. If it had just, because that's how life is.
I
what
agree.
life is you'd have that experience with that girl, it doesn't work out, she goes away, and you always think about her in a weird way, but you learned from it, and not being with her, not having it work out, makes you a better person.
I had forgotten how much I disliked the ending to this movie, which
Yeah.
says a lot about how much I loved the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
That ending reeked to me, and I could be very wrong, I felt like they had reshot that ending
Yes.
a bajillion times.
Well, you obviously can't put out. I mean, they won't fund a film that doesn't have some sort of
Well,
uplift.
they have tons of movies.
In a way, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
And this also was a very independently spirited movie.
Yeah.
Well, but
I
from
think
the
it's
guy from
Miramax.
Superman, I mean,
Might be.
that's
No,
true.
no.
Miramax
If she had just left and he had just had to deal
Agreed.
with that, and
Yeah.
it would have had so much more resonance for me, and
Yeah.
would have felt so much truer.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a,
And let's talk real quick, and then we'll move on. But we got
to
to talk about the supporting cast, dude. The guy from the AT&T Wireless commercial, Frigo. Brilliant. That guy was
He's a guy who
hysterical.
I knew. I was friends with that guy in middle school.
And of
It
course,
wasn't fun.
I'm in love with Christine Wiig.
Yeah.
Hopelessly
Here,
in love
the
with her.
really funny
But-
thing, I don't find her funny. I think
I
her
think she
shtick is
is-
so like overdone. But
she's
but
wonderful.
John Hader, or not John Hader,
Bill Hader.
he is freaking money, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's talk about the next
Okay, so moving on, and spoilers. We're going to talk about
And
Fast and
spoilers.
Furious. So the sequel to The Fast and the Furious.
Faster, More Furious?
Faster. No, it is Faster and More and the Furious. Something. And then
Furious.
Fast and Furious Tokyo
Drift.
Drift. And so this one is from the director. Justin Lin directed Tokyo Drift
Mm-hmm.
and has continued on to this sequel, which is sort of more like a direct sequel to the first film.
Right.
Because it brings back it brings back Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez and sort of ties up the
And Paul
way their
Walker
storyline
and- yeah.
ended in the
Right.
first one. It continues on Paul Walker. Now Justin Lin also want to say, have you guys seen Better Luck Tomorrow?
I have not, but
You know some people in it.
well, I know that whole.
that whole crew. Yeah, so Justin Lin started out as making this independent film, Better Luck Tomorrow, that was like the Asian Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
And then he's since gone on. He did Annapolis, and
Yeah.
he did. So
I
he's
forgot
done
he did
these sort of
Annapolis.
action flicks.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about that, but you guys haven't seen the first movie, so that's his first film. That's cool. Alex, what did you think of Fast and Furious? And you have seen. What do you think of the Fast and Furious franchise? If you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Fast and Furious franchise to me is one of those things that you flip on HBO. Like I saw Tokyo Drift, and flip it on HBO, and you're like, "Ooh, that car is skidding! It's amazing." And I like drifting. I like cars. So for me, there is definitely, this is car porn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is car porn with some talking that doesn't really need to be there,
I thought
and then
Southland
some
Tales
fighting.
was car porn.
That's physical
on
car
the
porn.
nose.
Yeah,
This is softcore. This is
this is
Cinemax porn. Southland
was
Tales
empty
was
symbol.
Triple A.
Tastefully shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, is it a great movie? No. Is it a good movie? Maybe not. But is
What do you think?
But is it a fun movie to see if you enjoy cars and you get into your car and drive way fast afterwards? Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun. This is just a fun movie. There's really bad dialogue. delivered in really bad ways, but there are fun jumping through windowy things. The car driving is always fun. Some really cool cars, So there's pretty girls. So I'd say if you like those things and you don't mind sort of having the story that doesn't really make sense or care to make sense.
It's basically what you're
and there's
saying.
some good fighting
if you saw
stuff
the
too,
trailer and that is a movie that you desire to see.
You desire to see. It is that movie,
Yeah.
exactly. If you want to see something a little bit higher than that, you don't see.
I think you guys would predict that this is not the kind of movie I would go see. I haven't seen any of the other Fast and the Fury but honestly, had I not been sitting next to somebody who had and kept whispering things into me, I would have been lost.
Yeah.
There's no
I
explanation.
knew you would have felt like Vin and his sister
Yeah,
were
I didn't know
love
they were
interests.
sisters,
Yeah.
or brother and sister. Yeah, I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then, and Jerry's like, that's his sister. And I'm like, oh.
You're like,
So
that's why they're not
they
having
make
sex.
no concessions to people who are new to the franchise.
Which is very interesting.
Very odd.
Yeah.
But oddly, I sat down and I had a weird convergence of events where I was really in the mood for this kind of movie. And when that first sequence happened, I was like, this is awesome. This is gonna be a great time. I'm gonna have so much fun watching this. And then
Talking.
the rest of the movie never does anything fun again. It's like, I think we complained about James Bond film a while back that did the same thing, where the
Like
opening
one
sequence.
or two set pieces, right?
The opening sequence trumped everything else in the film, and you got to have the best part at the end, so you work up to that, so you feel like, oh, I'm glad I watched this whole film because, and that first sequence is really, really cool in this movie.
It's
But
almost like they
there's
shot
nothing-
that specifically to be like, hey, should we make this?
Yeah.
There's
Or like
nothing
for the
fun
trailer or whatever.
or exciting or scary or interesting or thrilling about a chase through a tunnel, and we get it twice.
Yeah, that is definitely not
Said
good.
everything I was going to say. Second half of your review, because I have seen the Fast and Furious movies, and I really enjoyed the first one for the same reasons that you enjoyed the first sequence of this movie. The whole first one, it's Point Break with cars, but it's so much fun, and even the story is palatable, and you're in a little bit.
Point Blank with cars, it's good.
But the action is very well shot, and in Tokyo Drift as well.
Yeah.
This kid knows how to shoot this stuff. I'm a fan of how it looks, the action. But the first sequence in this movie is so exciting and so fun and so cool. And none of the other car chases are, even though they're well shot, there's a great foot chase in the beginning of the film. Nothing else towards the end is remotely exciting or interesting or well choreographed.
That foot
like the
chase was
first
actually
one
really
is.
cool. Now that I forgot about that,
Yeah.
like hitting him through the fence and stuff.
But, and the tunnel thing too, I want to specifically comment on that because I understand why it happened story-wise. I understand on the paper, couldn't you imagine?
Actually doing it is really scary.
Well, no, but not only that, but script-wise, when you have this, we're gonna have a cool chase. We've done chase scenes in the desert. We've done it in this. We're gonna have it in a tunnel. And on paper, it has endless possibilities to make that cool. But then when they
Get into
went
the
and they
tunnel.
shot it,
Yeah.
the first time it was not cool. Like they
Not at
didn't
all.
make it, but then it makes sense in a script that it was set up as just
You gotta
a little
go
thing,
through the tunnel.
and now that's the place where it makes sense to circle around for your end climax. But unfortunately, not cool at all.
It's like nobody went.
So I feel bad
Bro, that's in a tunnel.
when they
They went.
Somebody should have watched Temple of Doom.
Yeah, right.
That's
It was
my
basically
idea.
the cart
Yeah,
sequence.
well, I fear that that's what they did.
Yeah,
It
right.
wasn't.
And went
So-
carts. These are like big carts with
Yeah,
motors.
definitely rent the first Fast and Furious
Yeah.
if you want to see a Fast and Furious movie.
And I'd say go see this if you're into, if you just want to see crazy car stuff, but it's not.
So we all agree that it
Caliber.
needed those.
Oh.
Yes.
So we're here in Alhambra. Yes, you heard me right. Alhambra.
In Alhambra water making friends.
We are. We're here at Gallery Nucleus because Drew Struzan, the poster artist, is here doing a gallery showing of all of his poster work.
Yes. Drew Struzan is the guy that did the poster for every movie you loved growing up.
Yes.
As
He
a kid.
illustrated my childhood.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's take a look.
All right. Size one.
No, you have to decide which poster you would buy.
Okay.
I like it.
So then we can have one.
1938. Howard the Duck.
Tucker, A Man and His Dream.
Radioland Murders.
Young indie, regular age indie.
Middle-aged indie.
Yeah.
Teen indie.
And then, of course, Star Wars.
Who are these?
It's only 6K. Signed by George Lucas. Oh, dude. That's pretty cool. That's really
And
pretty
it's called Creative Impulse.
And look how sassy he is. This was not an easy decision for me. There's a lot of really wonderful art here, but this was my pick because, first of all, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark is a movie that's obviously near and dear to my heart. But one of the things that I like a lot about this particular image is it's the foreign poster, and there's a lot of particularly Struzan art here that is posters that we've all seen many, many times. It's that iconographic image that's burned into your head as the image for the movie. Well, this isn't. This feels new and fresh because it's not something that I saw 100 million times. And I think if I had it in my home, someone would walk in and be blown away by the fact that they'd never really seen this piece of art before. It's got the arc glowing. It's got Indy on a horse, dude. Come on! You know, I'm not loving how prominent she is there, but overall, you can't go wrong. It's beautiful. And, another cool thing is, this is a print. There's some original art here, but it's numbered, and check this out. It's number 1. Number 1 is more valuable than any other number. Am I right? Am I right?
This was this close to being my pick. And then I looked closer and I realized it was for Beyond Thunderdome, not Road
And
Warrior.
I happen to remember walking by this and you going, this one, this is the one, this is the one. And we all said, no, man, wait. And you said, no.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the great Muppet paper. I don't know if many of you guys know this. Hopefully all of you guys know this, but I am a huge Muppet fan. Muppets to me growing up was it. And the cool thing about this is actually the original art piece, hence why mine is $100,000 instead of some of the other top fees. So this is actually the actual painting that went on top of the newspaper cutout that was the movie poster. So, I know Jeff had said some stuff about hanging it on your wall and being like, you haven't seen this movie poster. Even if you have seen this movie poster, you have not seen this devoid of the actual, this is hand-drawn, this is the sheath, as it were. And for me, for my money, Muppets, that's how I grew up. I play drums right now today because of Animal. That's it.
Okay, so my pick is Creative Impulse. Basically, you get more bang for your buck. It's kind of like the poster for Indiana Jones, Star Wars, and 8 of his other movies in one. Every single thing here is something I held precious as a child. And even the little things like Howard the Duck, I watched about 1 million times growing up. And there's something that it's iconized in a poster that makes it radder, that represents how I really felt about it as a kid. And it's got the guy who thought it, it's called Creative Impulse, and it's the dude who thought about all these things on the thing that makes an icon out of the things he thought of and him himself, which I think is just too awesome to do. Pass up as my pick.
I will say, having Val Kilmer as the sole representative of Willow is kind of lame. Gotta have Willow in there. Come on, man.
All right, so we just got out of the Drew Struzan art exhibit. Amazing.
There's something about
Amazing.
seeing the actual art. There's a lot of
Yes.
prints in there.
Yes.
But when you see the actual stuff that he drew, it's really cool.
You see the
There's like depth
strokes
to it. Yeah.
of painting that he
Yeah.
painted those. It's not just like, that's a poster for a movie. It's like,
Yeah,
that's
like-
a painting.
Yeah, that was that one scene that they just freeze framed, roto out,
Oh,
and put
definitely
in
with
the
his
title.
style of poster.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It could be a scene. You know what I mean?
He's very collage-y
Yeah.
style that makes
Photorealism,
that
too.
makes the movie feel precious, not
Yeah.
just like there's a big actor's face. It's like it makes the whole movie is the big deal, not
Yeah.
just like the
It's like,
star.
the event, like
Well
the whole
put.
story, yeah. Well, anyway, we had a blast, and we're looking forward to coming back and seeing what else these guys got.
So this week we're going to be talking about 2 different video games. We're kind of in the spring lull of video game releases, but there are a couple of interesting third-person action games coming out. One of them is called Ninja Blade, and it's from Software. The guys.
Who's
on
first?
They did Armored Core and Chrome Hounds and the Tenchu series. And it's
They
published.
did the Tenchu series?
They're published by Microsoft Game Studios. And the other game is Wanted: Weapons of Fate, which is the game that is based on the Wanted film.
Based on the Wanted comic.
Based on the Wanted comic. Well done. So both of them are interesting in different ways. I think we're going to try to. What I'd like to do. First of all, let's talk about Ninja Blade really quick.
Yes.
I'm going to assume nobody cared for the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There were things to like, but it was just bland.
for me,
It may be the most derivative
Yeah.
game ever made. It's ninjas, also
It's God of-
military.
it is
also,
God of War.
It's God of War
with a ninja
meets-
skin.
Well, not only that, but it's got everything. It's got zombies. Yeah, we got aliens. We got.
I know,
What do
I
you
know.
want? We got it. It's in our game.
It's in our game.
But yes, I mean, go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
It really is God of War, play mechanic, everything. You can level up in a very similar fashion. You get different
You level
weapons
your
along the
weapon,
way.
you choose,
level the
yeah.
individual weapons. Huge boss battles that are all quick time events. It's exactly God of War, but not as cool.
done very
But there
well.
are some experiences in playing that are. I mean, the hugeness and the choreography of those quick time events are cool.
Yeah, but they didn't execute on the QuickTime events enough that I literally all this great stuff was happening and I was looking at this. Because I was like, X?
I know.
Y?
I
and
agree.
then I'd be like, Y, B, U.
Even
Yep.
within the game.
B. I mean, it was like, give me a
And
break.
it's almost as if they said, you know what people like? Boss encounters.
That's
cut
exactly
out
what it is,
everything
yeah.
except boss. It's just wall-to-wall boss
Yeah.
encounters.
Well,
it's really
with
is
some
QTEs,
stuff in between.
QTEs really every couple of minutes.
Now, let me just say, not a bad idea because Shadow of the Colossus is one of the greatest games ever made. Period.
All right.
End of story.
That's a solid point.
But I agree. But also, I love what it did do with
You
QuickTime
just agreed
events.
with your own
that
point.
all games should implement. It's funny how Weapons of Fate, dude. I feel very similarly about both games
that's-
today.
yeah.
Because should I branch and segue into that?
Let's talk about Weapons of Fate for a second because I think what the discussion that I'd like to have is about QuickTime events and scale because both these games handle that in a very different way. Now, let me just segue real quick into Weapons of Fate, which is, Wanted, the film, was very much famous for the bending the bullets and the over the top. The director was the guy who did Daylight.
Yeah,
and
what's his name?
It's Russian.
Oh, yeah, the Russian guy.
Koyaanisqatsi, I think. His name.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is very interestingly implemented in the game. So it does have some new ideas. You can bend the bullets. You can shoot from cover and distract people, and then kind of chain that together to get into a better position around them.
Well, I personally think the best thing, one of the things that blew my mind about this game was the way they handled QuickTime events.
Exactly, and that's
was
the discussion that I wanted to have. Is like, let's talk about QuickTime events in games. But
before we get into QuickTime events, if I may,
you may.
Because both of these games, I would have to say, if I was forced to give a hyperbolic quote, I would say they're both bad games. But interestingly,
I'm gonna have to
actually
force you to make hyperbole in
And
the
I
show.
actually enjoyed Weapons of Fate.
Well, really? Interestingly-
I did a lot. I thought there was some kludginess of it, but when you get into the bending and the slow-mo moving and then those QuickTime events, for me, were really, I really enjoyed the game.
what I was going to
really
say,
short.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
hang
that
on.
doesn't-
All right.
sorry.
What I was going to say was, in both of those games, there are things in them that are really awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I loved in Ninja Blade what they did in the QuickTime events, where if you F up, it rewinds 2 seconds and you do it right away. You don't have to relive and do the whole thing again. It's just like brilliant. They took the frustrating thing about QuickTime events and
Well,
said,
but then there's
don't be frustrated.
why even have it in the game? There's no challenge.
there
It's
still
like,
is,
oh,
'cause-
no, it's A. Wait. Okay, now hit A. I mean, it's like, why
sort
put it
of.
in
Some
the
of
game?
them changed up.
Yeah, I mean they did change up.
They never changed up for me while I was playing.
But still, it's about experiencing the grand thing and,
Yeah,
still have to
yeah.
have the timing of it. And in
Weapons of Fate.
No, and also in Ninja Blade, the switching from weapon to weapon, there was a fun experience, and only this weapon can do this thing, and this weapon can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, played in other games, but I found it easier than even in Heavenly Sword, where like I could use a heavy weapon to a quick weapon quicker. Something about that mechanic worked for me.
Yeah.
In Ninja
Well,
Blade.
that's the sort of the Devil May Cry, like switch up your weapons
Right,
on the fly,
right.
mid-combo.
Right. Also in Heavenly Sword, tried to attempt it, but right. That's what I was saying. So, but Weapons of Fate, curving the bullets, super cool.
Yeah.
The slow-mo and picking guys off, the abilities that you level up and you acquire as you play
Yeah.
are really cool elements. I wish those elements were in a better game.
Yeah,
That's
like
exactly.
Gears.
I completely
And
agree with
the
you.
cover mechanic, it was interesting that this game is like cover mechanics. The cover, you just hug walls.
it's Gears of War.
And it's
More
different
than
than Gears of
more
War.
than
It's
Gears
like
of War.
just
No, I know.
cover mechanics. It's just cover. I found myself trying to avoid that, and I ended up being much more successful. The knifing of people.
I love knifing
It
people.
made the game much more easy to play. I kind of wanted Weapons of Fate to be like the wonderful. I went back and replayed all of the Hard Boiled on PS3.
Yeah.
So I want Weapons of
Stranglehold or
Fate to
whatever?
be, or the Matrix game from like third person free. I can just run around and do crazy stuff, slow motion on the jumping around, whatever that other games do.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted it to not be cover. I kind of wanted, but
I completely agree with you that there are these key little innovations
Yeah.
that happen that you want to see in a better game. And it reminded me a lot of when we reviewed the Bourne game.
Yeah.
Where we all thought they handled QuickTime event. And
Great,
maybe
yeah.
I should say, for people that aren't in the lingo, QuickTime events are those sequences that are wildly choreographed, basically cutscenes of a game where you have to hit a specific button, and usually the big picture of what button you need to press
Yeah.
pops up on the screen. God of War definitely brought that. I mean, it was Shenmue sort of started it, and then God of War turned it into a thing that's cool in action games.
don't you think too? Well, two things.
Dragon's Lair.
I think Dragon's Lair is the father of it.
Sure.
Gave birth to it.
Shenmue coined the term QTE.
But I was gonna say Resident Evil 4. I don't know what God of War pre-Resident Evil 4. Because I thought Resident Evil 4 was really that's when I first heard but you know more than me for sure.
Well,
Regardless of that, but let me-
I think the sum for me of those things is why I actually really enjoy the game. I don't want to be the guy who says it's a great game, because I also had that same vibe where I was like, man, I wish I could have done this in Gears of War. I wish I could have done the bending the bullet stuff in Gears of War.
Bending the bullet is very fun.
And also the slow move to the next
Right.
thing is really cool, and I can't wait to see that in other games. So I don't want to go saying it's the best game ever. I think I agree with you guys.
The level design was like. They were just like, well, we'll just put a bunch of shit here so you can't go down that hall. Like it was
the airplane falling air, and you're like-
falling airplane was cool.
Okay, so anyway,
cinematically,
but go
but
ahead.
the design,
the most
of the
interesting
levels.
thing I think about Wanted was the way they handled what would be basically a QuickTime event, which is here we want to show you some wild, over-the-top choreography that you cannot actually accomplish in the game, but
Right.
we want to storytell it. In Ninja Blade, we saw, leaping off a building, doing crazy things, God of War style, and it just required you pushing a button that
Right.
really had no bearing on the gameplay.
Right.
In Wanted, what interesting I thought was they did the same type of thing where you're going to see something you can't do during the
Right.
normal play, but what we'll do is just slow down the whole game and go into slow motion, and basically you start playing like Time Crisis,
Yeah.
where you're still using the same controls you would, where you have to shoot, but you have a certain limited amount of time, and you have to hit this target and that target and this target. So you're basically still inside the game world doing game mechanics that you've been playing, but
Right.
it just tweaks slightly to be able to convey that grander activity.
Right. Which I love. The first time I saw that, I was like, did that just happen? Because that was a QuickTime event, and it didn't feel like a QuickTime event.
And I think that's the key. For me, I want to see more games where, yes, I get it. You want to convey this thing that is of a grander scale than you can possibly convey with the normal way the game is set up.
Right.
But let me attack that moment, let me interact with that moment in a way that makes sense with what I've already been doing.
Right.
Now let me break you, because one of the greatest games of all time is just one giant QuickTime event.
Hit me.
What's
with
it
your best
called?
shot. What's it called?
What's it called? No, tell me. I'm asking you.
I played it on your recommendation and One Up Sky's recommendation.
Indigo Prophecy.
Indigo Prophecy.
Yeah, and Heavy Rain, we know, which is the next game from those guys, is
My
going to
question-
be very similar
That has
to
a big
that.
question mark on me because I never applied Indigo Prophecy, so I don't know.
But it's
the
a very
love,
different type of game. I mean, it's not
Completely.
not
Yeah.
an action experience. And I feel like having these grand action experiences.
Would you say? Let me put this out there. Would you say that if somebody had a copy of Weapons of Fate and was like, "Oh, should I borrow that and check it out?" Would you recommend it?
I think it's a great rental.
I
think
that's
it's
what I was
if,
gonna
you,
say.
if you're at Blockbuster and you know we're in the spring and there's really nothing huge coming out that you know. You can rent it and you'd have a nice evening of entertainment.
Right,
It's
yeah,
a very
that's-
short game and
yeah.
you'll breeze through it, but there are some things
Because I just
that are
don't want. I know,
worthwhile.
but I just don't want everybody out. Or at least for me, I would say the same thing. I'd say if your buddy's got it, borrow it and play it. If you know go to Blockbuster, rent it and play it. It's worth playing for the experience, even though it's not the best game.
And Ninja Blade, you guys pass on it completely.
I could have not played that.
Yeah. Yeah?
Actually, I think I did.
I don't know. If you like
liked it a little
Ninja, no, I just think if
I
you
like ninjas.
If you like Ninja Gaiden, I don't think I had more fun in playing Ninja Gaiden than I did playing Ninja Blade. So
Really?
much more fun. Yeah. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
That's
I
a
think if
pretty
I
strong
liked
comment.
Ninja Gaiden, the redos, if I loved those games, I totally would. I mean,
This would sate you for that.
yeah,
even
it's
though it
less.
wasn't great.
It's definitely copying it, but.
Now the guys who did Wanted, their next game, they're called Grin, I believe.
Yeah.
And their next
Cool logo.
game is the Terminator Salvation game, which I played at GDC. I don't think I can talk about it yet,
So
but
don't-
very
you're talking about
similar. You're talking about very
us with
similar
your eyes.
cover-to-cover mechanic. Much better graphics, I'll say that.
Then Weapons of Fate.
They went Weapons of Fate, yeah.
Was that in your eyes? So before we get to our email, we do want to thank our sponsors, amazing sponsors like Squarespace. If you have a website need, maybe even Neon a website desire, you need to fill that need and desire with Squarespace. Head over to squarespace.com, check it out. They are amazing web hosting, the best WYSIWYG editor I have ever seen. I mean, kills Dreamweaver and all that other stuff. It's easy breezy, totally free, included in the purchase price of your service.
Yeah.
Speaking of purchase price of your service, if you use our coupon code TRS when you check out, you will get 10% off the entire lifetime of your website. There is no reason
time,
for you not to
potentially.
set up your cool website about cans.
And if you're
Squarespace.
looking to get cool
wonderful
website about
film
cans.com, the place to purchase that would be GoDaddy.com. It's the place to go if you're going to buy a domain name. They have easy startup software. They got all your bases covered. All your bases belong to them.
All your bases do belong to them.
You know, it's an easy site to use. It's got, they have a really great support staff, so if you have any questions, they're able to help you figure out, you know, the .net, the .org, all the stuff you need to set up a domain name. And if you use our promo code, TRS1, you get 10% off your order. So it's like you're losing money not making domain names.
Heck
And
yeah.
if you want to watch a movie while you're just raking in the dough from your awesome can website that you use Squarespace and GoDaddy to build, you can just go to Blockbuster. You can go to. No, you should go to Netflix, online renting, get the movie sent to you. They have over 90,000 titles. Most of the Blu-ray titles I'm going to recommend for you guys. I mentioned I was a hardcore Ryan Reynolds fan. I, of course, loved him on the show 15 growing up on Nickelodeon. But there's a gem of a movie starring Ryan Reynolds and Jerry O'Connell called Buying the Cow that is so awesome.
I haven't heard of it.
It might be bad now. I saw it a while, but I think I did see it again recently, and
Stamp
it's
of approval.
hysterical. And also, of course, we mentioned in this segment, but if you've never seen the movie Roger Dodger,
Awesome.
it is
Yeah,
a
it's
great. It's shot in a way very
You wanted to say Stamp of
handheld,
approval.
doc style. It was so ahead of its time, and that guy is yet to make another film. I can't wait for that guy to make another movie. But
Southland Tales 2, I think.
no, not that. Okay, so Roger Dodger. 40 shipment centers. So if you have a movie on the top of your queue, which you're bound to have, it will arrive almost the next day.
God, I want to get
I
my movie,
promise you.
but there's nothing on the top of my queue. Just 3 and 4 slots are taken.
But they
Why
also
does it
watch
automate
instantly, so you can watch your flicks instantly. It's so easy. Head over to www.netflix.com/TRS and get a 2-week free trial.
All right, rocking on. Let's get to our email, shall we? Dan, Alex, and Jeff, I wanted to thank you guys for coming down to Austin for South by Southwest.
Yeah.
It was rad to see your show in person, and you must do a live show there every year.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Good question.
I hadn't thought of that, but I'm glad he suggested it.
While waiting in line for the show, I was thinking of when I was a kid. My friends and I would get up super early and camp out at the game store to get our hands on the new video games to come out. Street Fighter 2, if I remember correctly, was a big one. It was so exciting to rush to the counter when the store finally opened. Do you have any stories about camping out in line to get or do something you really wanted? Thank you, Lewis Harlingen, Texas. Okay. And P.S. I did take a picture with you all, but to show no favoritism, I've also included a picture with me and Brian Brushwood from the after party.
Sweet.
Awesome. Yeah, interesting, visceral experience of like waiting with bated breath for something and then running in and getting it. Jeff, any?
Actually, yeah. I mean, I think that standing in line has always been a really fun thing when you're excited about. I mean, from when I was a little kid, I remember we just recently were interviewed for this upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles documentary, and
Yes.
I mentioned
Oh, yeah.
how I stayed in line for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the film, as a kid in front of my local multiplex. It was like the first movie that I waited multiple hours to see.
Yeah.
Super fun. I remember like waiting in line before concerts would go on sale in high school was a big thing.
There's a wonderful Saved by the Bell episode all about that.
Yeah.
Screech really ups it up for
normally
everyone.
that's an oxymoron, those for the first part of your sentence. But the most recent one was when I waited in line for my Xbox 360 and slept on the concrete overnight. And that was really fun because it became this like community of people all hanging out. We were all, you know, helping each other and like, I'll save my place, I'll go to the bathroom, I'll get, who got food? Oh, we have pizza, let's all pitch in.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Super fun. Danny?
The only line
Not really a
waiting,
queue man, as it were.
The only line waiting is for movies, and I've done that tons of times because you guys know I'm pretty anal about getting to a movie at a certain time before. So,
well, there's only 3 seats in any given theater that you can
Are
watch a
accepted-
movie.
acceptable.
You can actually sit in.
definitely when like the Star Warses and all those kinds of movies come out, I have to be there butt crack early. But I do remember as a kid, and I think I've told the story before, that I remember waking up. It was so early that it was still dark outside to go to Kitty City to register my Cabbage Patch. That was like a thing that everyone was doing. My mom is definitely remembering this.
Yeah.
Hopefully other people are.
Cabbage Patch, I have a feeling
but
all
there's something
parents
about
are
registering
going,
the Cabbage Patch that
those
was
effing
like,
dolls.
it was a difficult thing to do and you had to get there early to do it. I don't know.
Why did you have to go to some sort of cat location for that?
Kitty City?
Kitty.
Kitty City was a toy store.
I thought it was Kitty
It's
City.
Lionel's
No.
Kitty City.
Yeah.
Turn your frown upside down. Yeah, for me, you know, I wasn't much of a line person now that I think about it. I think, you know, like...
The only guy that stood in lines?
No,
Slept
I
on
mean,
concrete?
I liked...
Slim bag style?
I didn't do that.
You guys never
so much.
waited to when a band that you love?
No, that is
No,
the
I
cliche
definitely-
thing. It was before
that's
I was
totally-
Ticketmaster era
Yeah.
age.
I mean,
Yeah.
they still do that.
And for me,
People still
like,
do that,
my,
but
my
was
Xbox I got for
following-
Christmas, and my mom was like, I found one. And I was like, yay, Mom. You know what I mean? And 360, I did like that wait online thing where they have the thing where you just wait, and all of a sudden Kmart has like 2, and you go, oh, I'll have it. And I bought it with like a
remember
bunch of
when you
crappy
got your
games.
360.
So,
That's more epic than sleeping on the concrete on opening.
Yeah, you weren't comfortable anywhere.
whatever.
Yeah.
I was sleeping in my bed, uncomfortable. No, so, but for me, lines were Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi, I remember being a kid with my dad. We went, stood in line. It was this really big deal. There were all these people there, and I didn't really get what was happening. I just remember as a kid that I needed to somehow stand in this line, and then I would be able to see the next Star Wars. You know what I mean? But I didn't get that there was like but I didn't get that there was like that everybody was doing that, or that people were there and enjoying themselves while they were waiting, and there were people I'm sure dressed in costume, and I didn't none of that. I was just like seeing it from down
Tim
here
Burton,
going.
the Tim Burton Batman I was in line. My mom took me to see, and she liked it.
Movies, I feel like you do wait in line though, even now. But
It's
anyway,
Xbox is cooler than
yeah.
movies.
Good question. Thank you so much. If you want to get your question answered here on the show, please feel free to send your question to fans at totallyradshow.com. And we also want to thank our buddy Wide Awake Wesley, who helped us out this today with our mission. If you want to submit a mission for the show, head to totallyradshow.com/missions. and you can get all the information
Yeah,
there.
having your email right on the show is only one way to interact with our show.
Yeah, like look at Nikki Smith.
Nikki Smith's in a background. We got, you can send your mission in for the beginning of the show. We're trying to make this a two-way street as much as possible.
Yeah.
Also, the forums is a great way to interact with the show. There's a whole community there. You can check out toiletratio.com, click on discussion forums, sign up, participate.
Why not?
Yeah. Also, head over to the website to find out the movie we're going to view ahead of time. If you want to be in on our discussion next week, I can just tell you it's Observe and Report. But if you ever
tell me
miss
the name of the movie you'd like to see.
but if you ever miss a week,
I think also, in order to do the missions, you need to know what we're going to be talking about. So I think Wednesday we're going to try to have that be on the.
We're gonna try to put it up as soon as we
possible.
can.
It'll be Monday,
So we
but,
just checking in.
Follow us on Twitter, and then you'll know when we.
Yeah.
Then you'll know when we.
Yeah,
post
we
it.
can totally do that.
we'll know what the name of the movie
There
we
we
want
go.
to
The
say.
name of the movie we like to say. Also, we are going to be changing up our shirts and sweatshirts. So if you enjoy the shirt and sweatshirts that are available now, you may want to head over to jinx.com/TRS and get them.
There's
ASAP,
already
'cause
one you can't get.
Yep. Once they start to
There's
go,
already
we're
one
gonna.
that's gone.
Yeah. So don't be that guy and/or girl or child. Head over to jinx.com/TRS. Well, that is it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad Show. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Until next time, stay rad.
Unbelievable! It worked!
Special makeup effects, Alex
This is very like.
Let me know if this goes into your jugular.
Mike, through the thing, does it look like there's a thing in my neck?
Yeah, it does. That's pretty
Can you see the tape?
So-
Wow,
what it's
dude,
gonna
look,
be-
look
what
at this.
it-
It totally looks like you just
what
had
it's-
a dart
what
in
it's
the
gonna
neck.
be?
Oh, it's gonna be Cheerios all over the place.
I don't think so. That bowl's pretty fucking big. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Where's mine?
Two,
I guess.
one.
Holy crap.